Hello, this is a quick lesson to talk about Where Am I Giving Part 4 Safari Doctors, Futility, and Good Giving. Now, last week in discussion board, I think it was 11, I'm going to move out of this shortly. So, I asked the question, what do you make of the chapter with Safari Doctors? Are they helping or interfering? Why would I even ask this question? And a lot of you had mixed responses. All of you agreed that, hey, what they're doing is a really good thing. Some of you, one of you said, why would you ask that question? Of course they're doing good. No, I have a typo. Sorry. Uh, so, why would I ask this question? And several of you also were saying, well, they're not getting paid, so that's probably why you asked the question. Or that, yeah, they are interfering with the government, and they think they're interfering even though they're helping. So, yeah, they're helping, but this is brings up more about the entire kind of nature of this book. So I want to talk a little bit about this question: are safari doctors helping, or are they interfering? So it's chapter 19, Joy in a Hopeless Place. It takes place on the Lamu archipelago. I can't ever say that word in Kenya. So I'm going to jump back out into my maps and I'll show you where that is. So right here is the Lamu archipelago, and that's Sheila or Shella. I don't know how it's pronounced um, in Kenya. I'm going to zoom out. So I'm sorry if that makes you sick. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So that's where it is. This is all of the continent of Africa. Down here is Kenya. Here is Somalia. We're going to zoom in. Again, Ethiopia. So you can kind of see where it is to have a better understanding. Now, it's not this far out island, it's actually just right there. It made it seem like he was taking a long trip, but maybe it was coming out of the river and around. I don't really know. But this is where it is. You see, as we get closer, it's a lot of grids, farmland. These are the only roads. If we go to the map view, you'll see not many roads. And they talk about there's only like 10 kilometers of roads or something like that, or kilometers. Um, so Temmerman and his mother follow safari doctors through their monthly visit to the island. And this chapter has a whole lot in it: political unrest and problems with Al Shabaab, which is a terror group that's based in Ethiopia. Not Ethiopia, I'm sorry, Somalia, but it's infiltrated into Kenya. And so this is 2017, and Sheila Lamu, there's no teachers, they've all fled. So there's not really a school. There's no trained medical staff except for Kalu. He's not a doctor. He's just been trained by the Red Cross. When he needs medical help, he has to climb up the hill and to get cell phone reception and call for one. So they don't have much contact with the rest of Kenya. There are soldiers stationed there that don't have much to do except to protect people from Al Shabaab. And Temmerman wonders, well, who's protecting the people from the soldiers? The communities rely on charity, and everything just appears hopeless. So, from an outsider's view, this is on page 190, Timmerman thinks to himself, leave. Why would you stay here? Go start a life somewhere else. And I think that's an easy question for all of us to ask. Why don't you go somewhere else? Why can't you just pick yourself up and go somewhere where you'll be successful? Why stay here and rely on charity? And he reflects and says, I think it's a natural thought to have these thoughts, to see a problem and want to come up with a solution, regardless of whether we know what the hell we're talking about. The intentions come from a good place, no matter how misguided. And so I want us to think about ourselves. Clearly, these safari doctors are doing something good for the people. They're filling a need, they're saving lives, they're doing vaccinations, they're helping people out, whether it's STDs or other things. But are they giving false hope? If these people weren't receiving aid, would they stay? Would they go somewhere else? We might think yes, because they might go to a bigger city or something like that, but it also might be coming out of the frying pan and into the fire. But I think this reveals something about us as Americans who have a different attitude. So think about, wherever you are in this country, in this state, Do we give here, and where do you give? What are our attitudes toward the needy in our own country? We see plenty of people panhandling on the streets or intersections. Are we giving to them? Most of the time, I don't think we are. Um, you know, why not? It's because we judge. We will say, those people don't need it. They probably have a job or they're probably lying. We make assumptions. They're just going to spend it on booze or on drugs. Um, and we criticize. Why don't they just get a job, right? I had a cousin who just kept a stack of applications in his car, and every time he'd see somebody at the intersection, he'd just hand them that, and the guy's like, "If you, pal." Um, it's that simple assumption that, oh, get a job. I mean, there's reasons why people can't get jobs, or maybe they do have a job and this is what they do on the side, and maybe they're sob stories, or maybe they're not, and they're just doing it in their spare time. Who knows? Um, we rationalize that it creates dependency. Oh, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him to fish, and you feed him for life, right? And we'll see people, with cell phones on the street begging, and you're like, well, you have a cell phone, why do you need money? But it's just part of our culture. And here's some things, and I clearly I don't agree with either of these pictures, but it's part of who we are. Whether it's political ideology, a part of who we are as Americans. You can see this thing on the left. People will say, oh, well, if we don't feed animals because it creates dependent populations, why do we have welfare, right? Or over on the right, the big government answer to helping the poor is just give them food, right? And it shows people lowering things down, right? This is we want a hand up, not a hand out, right? And the free market answers, rungs of freedom, more rungs, right? Obviously, the problems with both pictures is that, well, there's only so much food in the bucket and so many buckets in here. Only one person can get it out at a time, it seems, right? But these are just pictures. But the idea is like, yeah, how are you going to get out? And we think of it as, um, climbing up or anything like that. So our American culture is kind of resistant to helping people as a society. Individually, it's fine, but as a society, as a group, creating dependent groups and things like that, that's a view. So we can ask, well, is safari doctors, are they helping or hurting? Isn't that a contradiction? We agree, of course, it's a good thing because it's saving people's lives, it's helping them. But is this creating a sense of false hope or dependency? Are they staying here because, oh, I know in a month they're going to help me out? Are people delaying the inevitable? We all think, oh, it's a great thing, yet they're underfunded. There's people working for free, trying to just help other people. 6 months I'm going to go without pay. What are they supposed to do? These people care, they're passionate, and yet they can't do everything they need to do. It leads to kind of this bigger question. We might ask, why is it okay or even good to give over there, and I put that in quotes, but not here? What are these attitudes we have? Where do our assumptions, our beliefs, our feelings about giving come from? Why do we walk by the obvious people in need here and say, oh, well, they don't need it, and then say, oh, those poor kids, I'm going to help, I'm going to give a few dollars or whatever. The price of a cup of coffee is what is always said. And likewise, you hear the same thing going on as well. Why are we giving all this money in foreign aid to all these different countries when we have people that need help here? But we're not helping the people here because we don't want to do that either. So it's this weird contradiction. And Timmerman is looking for answers. Throughout his book, he's wrestling with these ideas and the reasons behind giving. Is the giving more about making this giver feel good? Are our gifts even helpful? And he talks about that. He's like, okay, well, if we give something that people can't maintain, is that really beneficial? Are these gifts lasting? If we go there and, okay, we help someone paint a house, great. What does that actually do? So it's an interesting question. He has these contradicting giving rules that I'm going to be talking about that a little bit in next week in week 6. So we can see this contrast on pages 190 and 191 again. After turning away this man who is falling around asking for help, he's looking at this infrastructure, this latrine that was given by a charity, and it's just broken down. It doesn't work anymore. It says, another broken promise. The promise says, here's something, here's hope. We're here for you. Is that what giving actually says? And then we'll abandon you. We built you a toilet. Go use it. Now it's your problem. And then shortly after that, he talks about a drunk soldier, not soldier, but soldier, coming up to him saying, I'm very happy you have come here. You have left your homes, but you're doing something good. And if we are paying attention, we might say, okay, well, is this enough? Timmerman is showing us need. He's not doing anything. He's not helping the safari doctors that much. He doesn't offer medical help. He's not coming around with armloads of cash to give to people because he doesn't have that. So what is he doing? Is telling other people's story enough? Or is this kind of a form of slum tourism that he talks about? Hey, look at all these poor people. Isn't it sad? What are we supposed to make of all these depressing stories? Is presence enough? Is awareness enough? Some of you have said, well, I'm very grateful now that for what I have, even if it's not a lot, at least we don't live like that over there, like them. And it creates this kind of us versus them sort of deal. People will say, well, poverty in America is a lot different than poverty in other countries. And that's true. But is Timmerman pointing us towards some form of meaningful giving? Does he want us to see how the amazing potential of all these people have if they could just have some opportunity to use it? Does he want us to feel guilty? So what's going on in this entire book? I mean, it's very interesting. There's great storytelling, wonderful people, and yet, what is the point? I'm looking at this idea of empathy. Right? He's creating empathy or opportunities for empathy. And empathy is different from sympathy. Empathy is the ability to feel what others feel. When somebody's hurt, you are hurt. When somebody's sad, you are sad. As opposed to sympathy, you're like, oh, yeah, I feel bad for you, man. But it's not I feel for you. I feel with you. And there's a difference. And maybe that's what Timmerman wants us to do, is feel what others feel, not just look at them, oh, that's so sad. And by sharing stories, how we're alike, he helps bring down these imaginary barriers between us and them. It's not, oh, I better give because that could be me, or I wouldn't want that to be my situation, but we're here to help humanity, and I have more, and you have a need. Let's work together. Without empathy, it's easy for us to offer solutions, like Timmerman initially reacts. Just get out of here, go get a job, do this, do that. It's easy to deny people help. Oh, well, you're just going to waste the opportunity. You're not going to appreciate it. It's easy to rationalize, to assume and to judge. Oh, well, those people, they just don't appreciate what's good, or that's how they are. They're savages, or whatever we're going to say. And it's easy to do nothing and feel justified. I got to worry about my own people. I can't give money every time somebody asks. My own kids will starve. I'll starve. I won't be able to live as comfortably as I'm used to. What will my neighbors think? I'll be poor if I give away all my money. That sort of stuff. And we get to these extreme reactions. And, we might say there's no solution. Poverty and suffering exist. They're going to exist. We know that. If it were easy to eliminate these things, we'd do it. But it has a cost. And we know that. There's a cost. And we're unwilling as a society and a culture to pay that cost. Even if we as individuals want to or are willing to. But at the same time, we want to set the terms. I'll give you money as long as you're not going to buy it on drugs. Spend it on drugs. I'll give you help, but there's a limit. You have to stand on your own 2 feet, right? That sort of thing. So I want us to think about what Timmerman is doing in this book and whether or not it's effective. And it's a different form of reading. It's an active and reactive type of reading than just saying, oh, well, yeah, it was good, I liked it. But our book review and just the reading and thinking that is involved with this ask us to ask these questions. What is the purpose? What is he trying to do? Is he effective? Does he do a good job? So as we start to finish up, where am I giving? I want you to think about what all of it means and this bigger picture. So I'm glad you're enjoying reading this book and seeing what's happening in it. It's making you think, and that's evident from your discussion boards. They're really good. I enjoy reading them. Thank you very much.